Welcome to yet another episode of Fasi Fas, the show where we make way for women trying to get into the leadership sphere. Now, for the last 8 weeks, we've been sitting down and having great conversations around the things that are preventing women from getting into these spaces and what we can do about them. But this week is a special episode of Fas Fas, an episode that answers an important question: why? Citizens learn about the rights and obligations through a process called civic education. It basically teaches them to take responsibility for their roles and exercise rights within democratic states.
So what is the state of civic education in Uganda?
The Uganda Human Rights Commission and the Uganda Electoral Commission are responsible for giving civic education to all Ugandans. This is stated in the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda.
However, they both often claim not to have enough money to do this across the country.
The Electoral Commission has often relied on civil society organizations and donor agencies to help it to conduct civic and voter education.
This can be seen in the Electoral Commission's 2015-2016 General Elections report.
Now, it's been an interesting 6 weeks doing Fas Fas and trying to have conversations around making way for women who want to get into the leadership sphere. Today, we are just going to have a conversation with one of our partners, someone who has been helping us put the content and the conversations together. Now, KAS is a political foundation that is closely associated to the Christian Democratic Union of Germany. And amongst other things, they are passionate about political pluralism. And I'm going to be having a conversation with Bernard Mukone, who is the project manager. Now, Bernard, really quickly, KAS is about development and democracy. Yeah. But today I'm interested in the democracy aspect of things, especially a book I found hanging on your shelf, a resource for civic education in Uganda. Can you please just tell me about this book?
Yes, so the Democracy Workbook was developed by our partner, Gain Uganda, and has been published together with the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance and KAS. And we're using it to facilitate trainings on civic education in the countryside. Mostly we are targeting local leaders and also the citizens at the grassroots level.
Okay, so you have been around the country. Yeah. Talking civic education. Can you just please give me a brief assessment of how civic education is carried out in Uganda?
The few engagements that I have been part of, you go gather local people in a community and then you get them to talk about the things that matter to them in their community. So with this book, we developed kind of a guide to help to aid our facilitators to be able to talk through the local communities through what they need to do as citizens and leaders.
So he talks about civic education on the grassroots level and how KAS is trying to do something. Is what's happening out there enough or can we do more?
Well, it's certainly there cannot be enough of this civic education in Uganda currently. Yeah. For example, we have, again, like I talked about this book, we developed it and tried to make it as simple as possible to be able to be digested by even the lowest person at the grassroots. Yeah. For example, we talk about democracy begins at home. Yeah, I mean, parents can be able to show the children that actually democracy begins at home.
And a lot of time the expectation is that the government is going to come and teach us all these things, and yet
no, it's not just about government. Yeah. It's starting at home. It's starting among our citizens. For example, if you look at this book here, here we're talking about citizenship, and in our conceptualization, we think that every citizen, regardless of what they do, where they come from, they have a role to play in making their country a better place. So it's just not about asking government to do A, B, C, D, but also the question is, what are you doing as a citizen?
Do you think women in particular are left out of these civic education spaces, or is that just a general assumption that we make from up here in Kampala?
Well, I wouldn't say women are left out of this picture, but there are challenges. There there are obstacles that stand in their effective participation.
Yeah.
And if deliberate actions are not taken to bring them on board, so that they can participate as much as the male species would participate, then they'll still remain lagging behind. For example, if you look at the statistics of women at the local government level, we have barely 10 women as district chairpersons. Does that mean that it's only men who are capable of leading districts in Uganda? I don't think so. So there should be deliberate actions carried out by government, by other non-state actors, and the communities themselves to realize that women need to be empowered and to be brought on board to be able to participate at the highest level possible of government.
Okay. So, I mean, we've been doing this show for the last 6 weeks to try and get, make way for women who are trying to get into the political space. How does Fasi Fas tie in with, KAS's mandate?
So, KAS is reaching out, to women through different media and also doing civic education through other media. So Fasi Fas is an ideal tool for us to be part of, to talk to the general population and also the women out there, not just the general population, targeting men, but also women, and telling them, hey guys, I think it's possible for you to be able to go out there and compete and be able to participate more effectively than you are doing currently.
Now, of course, it takes a lot more than the technical knowledge around civic education to bring a show like this together. There are people who are responsible for every beautiful thing you're seeing, how the show looks, what kind of components are in the show, and it's important to understand why they do that. Now, they are a behavior change agency. I mean, they use the creative skill to be able to bring certain conversations to the forefront. We caught up with the people at Mango Tree to explain to us how this came about and why they made the decisions they made while putting this show together.
Mango Tree is a behavior change communications company.
Okay.
And it entirely gives you a package from your problem to the actual solution and execution of that solution. For instance, if you have a problem of communicating something about mosquito nets, Mango Tree will give you that concept, it will develop the concept, give it the actual solution, develop the actual materials, then deliver the materials, train the trainers who are supposed to use the materials, and later on check if behavior has been changed.
Well, I think from the wealth of experience that we have, for the last 20 years we've been working with low literate audiences.
Yes.
But we have also been working with even the literate audiences as well. Like, we've gathered a lot of information in terms of behavior change, in terms of knowledge, in terms of attitude.
Yeah.
Basically whatever you need when you're going to design something about communication.
Yes.
So most often when the clients come to us, they have a good idea of what they need, but they do not understand how to break it down effectively. So I think that's the bridge that we bring on board. So like when a client comes, then we'll be able to advise that, okay, I think if you want to drive this information, take this path.
Yeah.
If you want to drive this information, break it down to this extent so that it will be consumed by a person very well.
So let me ask now, with Fas Fas in particular, you decided to make it a TV show, and I've seen a couple of your products. You have games here, you have books there, and normally when a lot of people are doing advocacy work and things like that, the TV show format, especially the way it is not a very famous format because they don't think it's going to reach down to the last possible user. Why did Mango Tree decide to say, you know what, let's go for a television format?
Well, first of all, we are Mango Tree.
Yeah.
And if you look at why Mango Tree, for example, is that we make learning easier for an environment. For example, just like you see, it's under a tree.
Yeah.
Most of our tools are being used by farmers under a tree. Most of our education tools are being used by kids while they are playing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring in something that is very simple, something that will, in one way or another, relate to the learning that goes on at community level.
Yeah.
If you have an LC meeting, it will happen under a tree. If you have a clan meeting, it will happen under a tree. So then we're like, okay, how can we bring the learning in the setting that people are most comfortable with?
So that they're familiar with it.
So that they are familiar with it, yeah.